So the System 6000, what is it for people who don't know? Well, basically, as I've already said, it's a main unit which is the raw DSP, it's the remote control unit, and it's also the remote control CPU. Now TC, over a number of years, right back from the original System 6000, have developed some incredibly amazing tools for all sorts of application in music production, post-production, mastering. And those can all harness the power of the System 6000 in various and infinite ways. You have 4 DSP engines on board the System 6000, and you can choose to use those however you want. So sometimes I may run 4 stereo in and outs to the System 6000 using the 4 DSP engines as 4 discrete different processes, or sometimes I might chain them all together and use them as one stereo chain for mastering, or any combination of the two. So it's incredibly flexible in the way it works. And when I first got the System 6000, I plugged it all in, I plugged the cables up, I fired it up, I did a bit of routing on Logic, and within literally an hour I had worked out, without even looking at the manuals, how to do all the routing itself on the System 6000 via the Icon remote. I was able to get stuff in and out, I was able to load different algorithms into all the DSP engines, look at how I could integrate it into the studio, and that was without even looking at any type of manual. And I think that's testament to the fact that it's such an elegantly conceived product, and it's matured and matured over the years to create something that's incredibly intuitive for the studio or the post-production environment. Now, some people might argue the case that what's the point in this day and age of having a dedicated hardware remote control like this for something like the System 6000 when you could have hands-on control with using software plugins and a generic controller, perhaps like something like this Euphonics. Well, I would argue, since having the System 6000, that really it's a different animal altogether. The integration of the Icon with the algorithms that TC have developed creates a really intuitive and creative, almost like musical instrument. A few years ago, I had a studio which had no instruments left in it at all. I gradually got rid of all my hardware. I was doing everything in software, and I ended up feeling really bored with the music making process. I felt like I was almost like a musical accountant. I was just doing everything on the screen. I had nothing to touch. I had nothing to interact with. So I started buying some synths again, just to create something different in the workflow. And the System 6000 has had exactly that same effect on me with effects and the way I use it. You know, before I probably wouldn't have reached in real time to ride levels of reverbs or change in real time certain parameters in effects that I now do on the System 6000. It kind of makes me want to use it, and it makes me want to move things, which I think is fantastic, because you know, it's all so easy just to set up settings in plugins and just watch them go from start to finish in a track. But the System 6000 has really given me that kind of organic interface with the DSP that it's actually controlling. So over this next series of short videos, I'm going to be showing you various algorithms from the System 6000 and how I actually use those algorithms in my everyday workflow in various different projects, right through from film score work to remix work to album production work. I'm not going to be bombarding you with masses of facts and figures and dB ratings and ratios and all that kind of thing, but really just showing you how they work in real-world musical applications, and more specifically in a music studio as opposed to a post-production studio. And hopefully you may be able to gain some inspiration on how you may be able to use the System 6000 in your own setups.